Hey, Taurus, thanks for dropping in with me. I'm here to just tap into your frequency and get you a memo of the moment. We got a lot of action going down this month astrologically, and we just had a really significant Mars-Jupiter conjunction that will be having some long-term ripple effects rolling out. So I thought since we just had the apex of that experience, we kind of tap into the energies and just see what you need to know at this time, what needs to come on through for you. This is for any significant Taurus placement, or if you happen to have a prominent placement in the second house. Also, if you're a Scorpio rising, that makes you a Taurus descendant, and you may find resonance with this read. Do be aware that roles can be reversed, flip-flop, roles, genders, all that action as you need to. You know how the message is speaking to you. And yeah, toss aside the rest, okay? If it's not your message, don't take it on. It is a collective read. It's not personal, but if you want a personal, you can reach out to me at BroadCoven@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to hook you up. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it and see what is coming in for you, Taurus. All right, bottom of the deck energy. Okay, well, this isn't the most pleasant, but I think that you're starting to get to the end of the tunnel, so to speak. We got a cat licking its butt for all eternity. So I feel like you're dealing with a situation that's very repetitive. It's gotten old. You're tired of having this view, you know. You are hoping to maybe clear out this cycle. You recognize that some experience has just left a bad taste in your mouth. There's maybe been too many secrets in this situation. You find this really unpalatable. You could be dealing with somebody born in the year of the cat or the year of the rabbit. It's the same thing, just different traditions within Chinese astrology. You could also be dealing with a Leo in this situation. I think you're ready to end this monotony. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Not sure what this is about yet. I also associate the cat energy, cat medicine, with a sense of like playfulness. So I feel like you might be like really mired in a bunch of like menial, mundane stuff, and you're wanting a little bit more fun in your life. Yeah, I think time's up on a certain situation, maybe with a connection. We got Galaxy Dad here. This would be a very Saturnian kind of character. This is somebody who is maybe very practical, okay? And they might be a little bit more slow moving than you like. I feel like this is something that you were really invested in at one point. And I think that time is just kind of up on a situation. You may be hearing this, or you may be the one that's delivering the news. Either way, I feel like somebody here definitely feels like they kind of were put in the role of a martyr in a situation, or they were taken advantage of by people that they really trusted. There does seem to be like some sense of wounding related to like kind of a Judas sort of energy, like somebody who really looks like on the surface they're aligned with you, but they're working against you or selling you out the whole time. It's got those kind of vibes. I do feel like this is somebody that you were connected to on an intimate level. I think you had your primal instincts fire off around this. You knew that something didn't feel quite right. I think you were well aware that this particular character had a dark side. And if you were honest with yourself, that's one of the qualities that drew you into them. Like a moth to a flame, you wanted to unravel the mystery of them. You knew that it might lead to something self-destructive, but you dove in anyway, and you kind of jumped right into that fire. And, you know, going through the shadow is one way to transform. And it can be a painful experience, but it can also be a very cathartic experience. And I think that there's been some challenges around this connection, this situation where you've been trying to figure out like, what is it? What even is it? You've wanted to define it, you see, because here it says all right? So this is like our need to really classify what something is, find a label for it, put a structure around it, a framework to understand what we're working with. It's not really being in a place of just openness and exploration. So I feel like that was a real, like, kind of like, it was a conflicting point for somebody in this situation. Somebody really did want the label. This could be wanting a title, all right? I could see this as wanting, you know, to be made official, so to speak. This could be anything related to, you know, somebody you're dating. You want to take it to the next level. You want them to, you know, make it official. You want them to make it Facebook official. I just heard that. Okay. Maybe you feel like you're being kind of like kept like a secret. That isn't really working for you. Maybe when you ask, how come you're not representing me, man? There's like a million different excuses why they can't make it official. Okay. You feel like there's secrets involved there. You're not really trusting it. You're sort of feeling like they're talking some shit to you. They're not being real with you. I think this has been a situation that's been playing out for a while. It's gone through many stages. Something's been on pause too, like a certain plan or a desire to move forward in a certain way. It's been promised, but it's been left on hold so long. It's just like this thing is starting to just fester. It's becoming almost like a festering wound. I feel that because I do feel like there's injury. There's a sense of injury around this. The injury, I'm looking at where it's coming in terms of these arrows in this figure here. And the injury is coming in the liver, okay? So it's possible that somebody has an issue with alcohol in this situation, and that could be causing some problems. Maybe this is like a deal breaker for you. You really want somebody to get the partying under control. You were clashing over this. This could also be there's repressed anger in this situation, and it's sort of like it's getting pressurized. You may have been trying to keep things on an even keel, just like, you know, keep things contained, keep things harmonious, but it's getting to the point where it's becoming difficult to hold it in. You feel like, you know, it's too pressurized. I feel like you're getting some kind of news from somebody that, you know, something's on hold again, or something's called off, or it's too late, or, you know, something is not following through like you thought it would, and this news is not well received. You could also be issuing this news, okay? It can work both ways. If this is related to some kind of callback in regard to wanting a really coveted position, and maybe you were promised that, maybe you were promised some kind of promotion, you were promised some kind of level up or something. This is hearing that actually went to somebody that you consider like your nemesis. They got the spot, they got the role, they got the job, they got what you were hoping to receive. And I think you really wanted some beginning here. You hinged a lot on it, actually. I feel like you risked a lot for this, and you're finding that it only brought a lot of disruption into your life, okay? There is something here that is coming to a close, and you may feel a little bit frustrated too with yourself in this situation because you did sense that something was off, and you kind of went against your better judgment in a particular dynamic. I feel that. Also, we got an arrow here in the intestines, so that has a lot to do with just fear in general. I feel like the fear is around wondering what's coming next. Now that this has happened, you're sort of expecting almost a domino effect, I feel. You may be waiting for a call. You may have sent out a couple messages. You might have even sent out a couple messages, you know, like email or texted, or, you know, left a voicemail or something, you know, tried to send something through on social media. You might have, you know, had some pretty sharp words. You might have gotten really to the point. You might have called this person a coward or said they were afraid, you know, you put them down in that way. You might have used your words really harshly. You might have, you know, fired something off when you were really fired up. You were angry. You wish that you could take it back. Maybe you tried to reopen something here. You keep checking to see if, somebody's returned your message. You look like you're left on red here. That's kind of what I'm getting in this situation. Or you're getting news that it definitely is like cutting off some new beginning. I think you knew when there was a pause here that something wasn't quite right, or it wasn't going according to plan, or maybe you pushed a little too hard, or something went just a little too far. And I think for a while you tried to convince yourself, oh, it's probably nothing to worry about. You probably had a lot of nagging feelings around something just not going the way you were hoping for. You might have had somebody who was sort of placating you, Somebody's been out of reach. I feel like somebody's been really hard to reach, or they've been really hard to get through to. You're realizing, oh boy, this is a mess, okay? That's what I feel like. Something is now officially entering the goop stage. There's a lot of blockage around communication. I feel like somebody maybe has thought of picking up the phone and having like a clear out with you, or really talking something out, but they don't really know the right words to say. They don't want to make a situation worse. And they are looking at protecting their own position and their own interests at this point. With this entering the goop stage, I feel like right now you're sort of just feeling a little bit mixed up inside. You may have a lot of emotions, and those emotions may be super conflicting, and you're just trying to sort something out. You may be trying to sort out when something went awry. Okay, what is this about? Give me more details for Taurus, please. Give me more details for Taurus, please. Don't be hard on yourself, okay? Because I feel like you're being really hard on yourself. Like, I knew it. I should have trusted my judgment. My intuition is never wrong. I mean, come on, man. We've all been in positions like that where we knew maybe this wasn't the best step to take, but because of desperation or frustration or just being at not our best, we take an action that maybe was a little too impulsive or not well thought out, or from a place inside of us that was already hurting or was already working through stuff and was just not ready to do that. 1313 on the clock. You may see it as bad luck, okay? You may see it as bad luck, but it's actually something that you had to go through so you can discover your true power, all right? But usually we learn about our true power when we first encounter the misuses of it, or when something goes awry. Yeah, I mean, because I do feel like there's a situation here, and we got the dildo wizard here, okay? So somebody is playing a martyr in this situation, and you might have martyred yourself for a cause for a while. All hail the dildo wizard. You may have had somebody who worked their magic on you, and you may have felt like, this was like somebody you were willing to follow, whatever you say, I'm down. And it actually could have been a sort of a triad situation. In fact, this could have been like, a couple unicorns in the mix, and a polyamorous sort of arrangement where everybody's in agreement here. But I think something stopped being, what you thought it would be. And now maybe you're trying to make somebody pay. It's like you played, you didn't like how it turned out, okay? And I do feel like maybe you and another are teaming up with each other. Maybe you both were put in this position. Now you're trying to team up against this character and, like, calling them out, like making them, sort of making an example out of them. It's got that vibe. Or somebody's doing this to you, okay? I feel like at one point, though, like you were copacetic with this, or everything was copacetic. Like the people involved in this situation were in agreement. But now that it's kind of going south, somebody's got a problem with it. Maybe there was some kind of imbalance in the dynamic here where somebody was just getting away with too much, and it soon got to be to a place where maybe you saw that it was sort of like, how can I put this? Almost like somebody had a messiah complex. You know what I'm saying? Like they were sort of playing God with people's lives. Like they felt like, it was all about them, and this is somebody who liked to be worshipped. And they got a lot of ego gratification, perhaps, from having all these conquests, having all these people that were willing, to cater to them in that way and play that role. But I don't think this is a case where, anybody didn't know what was going on in this situation. That's what it looks like. It looks like there's agreement here. It does. And even if you say, no, I never agreed to that, I think you knew that it was going on. Okay. You knew you were dealing with you were dealing with a situation where there was an imbalance in power. You were dealing with a situation where maybe there was a big upsell. Maybe you thought, something did seem too good to be true, or that something, was a team effort, like you were all in it together. And then you're finding out here that no, somebody turned coat on you. Okay. They went rogue on you. I think there's a couple people that maybe even used to be at odds with each other. I got like, kind of like people who feel like they got played by this character that are now teaming up to sort of like make an example out of this person, trying to martyr them. But it's interesting because it's sort of like the people doing that are also acting like martyrs. I mean, like I said, there does seem like there's mutual agreement. It just seems that there's been some kind of fallout in this group dynamic. So now nobody wants to take accountability and they want to try to pin all the blame on one person. But I do feel like on varying degrees, everybody in this situation had their part to play and knew what they were getting into. Even if they said they feel like they were deceived, they knew. I mean, you knew intuitively something wasn't right here. I think there's some kind of sobering news coming through this situation that at one time maybe it felt like, it felt like fun, it felt edgy, or it felt something a little bit maybe like a little rebellious or a little taboo or a little edgy, um, and now there's like a big thud back down to earth. It's sort of like the reality of a situation, the after effects of, kind of maybe playing things too loose, not taking things, seriously enough. You don't want to take things too seriously, but also, there does come a point where there has to be, certain limits put in place if things are to stay in balance. And I feel like this is like a crazy freaking party train that just like got out of control. And sort of like, somebody in this situation thought that, it could just continue on. But now it's like the chickens are coming home to roost. And now that the chickens are coming home to roost, nobody wants to take responsibility. And so it's like a passing the buck kind of energy. And this can come through like, certainly like a polyamorous type of dynamic. I could see that. It could deal with a situation where somebody's in a position of power. It could even deal with like a business situation where maybe, people thought that they could get ahead, on a business level if they were like hooked up with the boss, or, somebody who, had some kind of sway or advantage. It's got that kind of energy to it. But somebody here was just, they were all on the take, and there was never any desire to have anything truly all on an even keel here. Somebody is misusing power in this situation. Let's see, what do we got here? What do you got here? More details. I also see this could be, somebody is realizing that, they've sort of been living according to a certain image that they've projected that's not accurate about who they truly are. They may come off as being very straight-laced, by the book. You could be dealing with somebody like this. You could be dealing with a Capricorn You know, someone who runs a lot of that Saturn energy, somebody who's very logical, toes the line, hard worker, you know, just a salt of the earth kind of character here, right? So somebody who's very stubborn and very like opinionated. It's hard to get them to like shift their perspective. This is somebody also who usually, you know, they take care of their stuff. They have their practical matters taken care of. This could be a father, you know, this could be a baby's daddy. This could be, you know, somebody who has kids or, you know, is in a role where it's really important that they do show up in the world that way, that they have their, you know, they have their shit together. But behind closed doors, this person's, you know, got some freakadeek going on here, you know. They got some skeletons in the closet, you know, and maybe something that tickles their fancy is really outside of societal norms. You may be discovering this about somebody that you've been involved with. You could be discovering this about yourself. And it's a big, like, whoa, you know, it's a tower moment because it gets you looking at everything differently. And if you have somebody that maybe you confided in about these things, or somebody confided in you, it's possible that somebody here is really violating privacy in that regard, and they're trying to blow the cover on this and spilling someone's secrets. Whatever's going on here, somebody is holding something over somebody's head. They want to make an example out of them. They want to make a martyr out of them. And this person is acting from their dark side, most certainly. Okay. They are, because there's something here that ain't right. Because I feel like it looks like this is a triad situation and there's mutual agreement here. And all of a sudden, you know, two are deciding to gang up against one. All right. It's like a turning the tables moment. It's a very like, again, it's like that Judas kind of energy. Okay. So yeah, I think two are betraying this galaxy dad. That's what it looks like, you know. And if you're the galaxy dad in this situation, you know, and you've been just towing the line, you're really realizing like this can't go on. Like I don't like the reality of this situation. This was a nice fantasy, but the way this is playing out, it's more than I really want to deal with. You could be dealing with a Pisces. We do have like this hangman energy here. You could have a strong Pisces placement in your chart. I also feel like maybe you're feeling a little foolish and you don't want to get hung out to dry. You're wanting to transform this situation. You might be trying to figure out your way out of this mess. You know, you want to cut yourself free. Maybe you're not willing to be a martyr in this situation. You're like, no way, man. You're not going to make a clown out of me. Somebody feels like that. Somebody feels like they're sort of being cast aside, like they're just some nobody in this situation, when at one point they were, you know, very much part of this this scenario, okay, this group. And they're not going to be the one that's going to get hung up in regard to this. I feel that very strongly, you know. They have other plans, okay. They are really looking to transform a situation here. You could be a Scorpio rising, and this could be speaking very strongly to you too, okay? Somebody here that maybe you didn't think that they were a challenger, all right? You might have like counted them out, and this could be for like some desired position, or, you know, to get the guy, get the job, get the role, whatever, okay? Whatever this is, I think that there's a couple people here who are angry because they feel manipulated, but yet they were manipulative too, you know, because they made it out like they were cool with arrangement when they really weren't. They were just trying to find favor and cater to this person's ego so they could get on their good side, and hopefully, you know, that would gain them a certain advantage, and then they could, you know, get this position that they wanted, or get this title they wanted, or win this. It does have a little bit of vibes like that. And then here comes a dark horse nobody was expecting. Oh, that's nobody. We don't need to worry about this person here. There's no way they're going to get us hung up. Oh, yeah, well, this person was craftier than you thought they were. They weren't a clown. In fact, maybe this was just a fool playing the fool to fool those who thought they were fooling them, you know? I see that they cut themselves free in this situation, and they got a certain happiness they want too, and they got their sights set on the bullseye there. So somebody here is looking to transform a situation. They may be wanting to transform a situation with a Scorpio. It could be a Scorpio is wanting to transform this situation. There could be a Pisces involved in this mix. There could be somebody born in the year of the horse, born, not born, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody in the year of the horse is being born. What does that mean? That's an interesting message. Somebody in the year of the horse is being born. It's not the year of the horse now. I don't think it's going to be the year of the horse next year either. Maybe somebody was born in the year of the horse and they're going through like a rebirth kind of energy. I had to stick with that because there's something significant about that. Could also be a Sagittarius is going through a rebirth energy. They're wrapping up some kind of karma, right? They're moving against the current. They're like a rat going for the cheese. They've had enough of these thorns and they want a rose. There could be a rat, somebody born in the year of the rat in the mix here. Could also be dealing with a Leo energy. Again, a Piscean energy as well could be coming in there too. This is like, you know, somebody is going through a transformation. They were going with the flow. Now they're going in a different direction. I feel like this person, you know, maybe for a while wasn't sure what they wanted. And maybe they've made up their mind about what they've wanted. And they're no longer stuck. They're no longer hung up at the crossroads. They know where they want to go. They know where their rose is, you know. They know who they want to, you know, make an offer to. Something about this is really out of this person's element. It's not like them. And there's something about like the dark horse here, like nobody expected this. Some people may be telling this person that they're a fool, like you're a fool to head in this direction. You're out of your mind to head in this direction. They might be clowning on this person. You know, somebody may have a target on their back because of what their happiness is. And there's a little bit of suffering that's going on as a result of it too. I do feel like there's a couple, you know, people here that, you know, I mean, with the unicorn energy, it definitely has a lot of like, you know, kind of like lovers on the side connotations. But I could also see this with the dildo wizard. This could be, you know, a group of people who like to, you know, work some magic, and they may raise that energy through, you know, getting it on. There are people who do harness the energy like that in a ritual capacity. Okay, so it could be, you know, some occultists getting together, some chaos magicians getting together and raising energy together, and they had their little triad going on, and they were really cool with it, and it was a lot of fun for a while. But something has gone kind of south. I feel like because this particular wizard kind of got caught, you know, maybe, you know, maybe playing around with some other wizards or some other magicians. You know what I'm saying? Somebody was just leading a little bit too magical of a life here. Either way, I feel like this person is not about to be put in the position of, you know, being hung up there on a cross and taking a flogging when, you know, they once saw themselves as the dungeon master. There's a lot of kind of like kink themes coming through here, I have to say. Any further details about this for Taurus? Any further details about this for Taurus? You know, there's something here that like, it feels like a little sojourn into fantasy, like an escape from reality. And there's, you know, some maybe some kind of more clandestine kind of connections or clandestine arrangements and situations. But now there's like, there's the reality on the other side of that. You know, it's got vibes like it was fun while it lasted, and now there's like something that's kind of like, you know, it's still hanging on after riding a dolphin in space. Okay, so you may be in a position where you're like, you're ready to move on from this. Like, you're wanting, somebody here in this situation is ready to break free from this. And again, it comes up on the bottom of the deck because something has become really repetitive here, and they don't want to continue on this cycle. I do feel like whoever that character is, they are closing this karmic loop as of the full moon on the 19th. There will be some news that comes in around this. Somebody is just like, time's up on this. I don't want to go for another round with this. You know, there's a lot of like fish reference. So I do feel we got strong Piscean energy here. I do think this is a karmic cycle. This is something that needs to be balanced out. There could be people that seem friendly on the surface in this situation that have actually actively been working at odds against each other because they all wanted a particular cup or trophy, prize, outcome. They all wanted this position or whatever this was. Everybody coveted it. And now they're realizing it's kind of become tainted. It's almost like the means to the end didn't justify it. There's like something about what happened along the way there almost brought out the worst in these people. And as a result, it's sort of like the offer was spoiled and now there's no desire to have this. I think what you're doing right now, Taurus, is you're following your instincts in this regard. You have suspected a long time in this situation that something was off. There were times when you were more led by, let's just call them carnal desires. And when I say carnal desires, yeah, it can be sensually, but I also feel like there's other temptations that come with other sensory pleasures, you know? I feel like there was some desire to experience a certain deliciousness in your life that you knew it was, you know, playing with something that potentially could be venomous or could strike you when you least expect. And at the same time, you kind of couldn't help it. You know, you already identified what the situation was, but maybe you took it as a challenge. Maybe you thought you could transform it. And so you took the risk. But now, you know, you're finding out that it's not all it was cracked up to be. And maybe you should have listened to your instincts. I think you're using your instincts now. You're not, you know, buying any more, you know, any more double talk from this person. You know, you're tired of trying to figure things out when you already have the answer in this situation. 33:44 on the clock. That's what it's got. This person, they got a real silver tongue, and they know how to really kind of like make you want to believe them. I got that. Like, this person's a liar, but you know, oh, they're so pretty when they lie, or you know, the lies they spin are so beautiful. It's just easy to get enraptured by it all. But I think you're starting to use your brain now. At a certain point, you know, you kind of go beyond just your, like, you know, primal urges, and then you start looking at the reality of what you've actually found yourself in, and it's not quite the pleasure it used to be. I do have this piece though of, like, you know, a couple players in this situation now turning on one individual and trying to make them accountable. I think it's this like Galaxy Dad character, this wizard in this situation, you know, but y'all were in it together. That's what I see. I mean, it looks really clear here. You all were in this together. Let's do a cut of the deck, and then I'm going to pull out my shadow light cards here. Yeah, I don't know, Taurus. I wouldn't push this if I were you, because if you are trying to pin something on somebody, when you were an active participant and you knew what the score was all along, I don't think this is going to work out. You all are headed for a collision here with Papa Macho. Like, somebody feels just as justifiable as you in this situation, you know, and they're prepared to take you by the horns, you know, you're that bull there. They feel like they got a grasp of this situation. Again, notice the symbolism here. Look at this. The arrows in the side. It's like the same thing, okay? It's the same thing here. This character is not going to tolerate this. I don't see this working out well. If you got some plot to team up against somebody, you think that you're going to make them a martyr, or you're going to blame something all on them, or, you know, flip-flop roles as you need to. You could be dealing with somebody that's putting you in this position. You know, maybe you think this is this character's position, you know. They think they got a hold of you. They think they got control of the situation. You think you might have, you know, a better plan. You're following your instincts here. You think you're 2 steps ahead. What I'm seeing here is a kind of dicey situation where there looks like there is no moving forward. There's just like constant like crashing into each other. It's got like collision energy. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if somebody like did damage to someone's car. Is there something going on with a vehicle? Did somebody get gifted a vehicle, and are they having the vehicle taken back? Or did somebody do something to somebody's vehicle? Did somebody, well, there was a piece coming in about maybe somebody, you know, could have had a drinking issue. So maybe somebody, you know, drove while intoxicated. They got a DUI. They crashed the car. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but that might clue you into this Papa Macho character could be. I think this person isn't about to back down. Strong Leo energy with this character here, okay? I think you're definitely dealing with somebody who thinks they have a firm grasp on the situation. I mean, it does look at like at this time, you know, they do kind of hold the power in a situation, but I feel like you're trying to topple that over by orchestrating something to come to a collision point, you know? Interesting. I don't know. This isn't the most ideal situation, though. Yeah, I mean, you may feel like somebody thinks they know everything. They know what needs to happen next. They bark the orders. They call all the shots. They feel like they're in charge. You may feel like this person has no effing clue. This just has the vibes of like people turning on each other. There used to be camaraderie here, but somebody in this situation didn't get what they wanted. Or somebody here really went rogue. They headed in an unexpected direction. They went in a direction that could have never been anticipated. It made 2 here feel really foolish, and so now they've decided to team up against this person to, you know, teach them a lesson or whatever. But it looks like everybody was involved in this dynamic at one point. I mean, something is coming into alignment here with the theory of 11. All right. And whatever's coming into alignment here is meant to come into alignment. So let's see what this is about. You know, that's the thing. Sometimes when you get caught up in teaching a person a lesson, you're actually teaching yourself a lesson along the way. It's kind of strange because I feel like something is meant to come into alignment here. And sometimes we can block our own path when we're sort of fighting with stuff that there is no moving forward with it. It's like it's always going to be at a point of contention. There is no moving forward. There's just constantly like butting heads with each other, and one person trying to prove that, you know, they have more authority or more power or more clout than the other. And it's just not harmonious. Like there's something that can't get on the same page. I feel that. And it's weird to sort of fight with that and struggle with it and want to teach a personal lesson when it seems like whatever this situation is, everybody knew what they were getting into. I don't feel like there was anything that was like, you know, hidden in this situation. It's more like people thought that they could prove themselves or earn a particular spot or manipulate a situation or potentially be the one, you know, that could transform this person's view, positions, desires, whatever, even though they knew darn well that's not who this person is, that's not what this situation was offering, right? Sort of like just like playing a role for the sake of getting an in, like getting a foot in the door, and then hoping that it's going to magically turn into some totally different opportunity or offer, and it's not realistic. Yeah, bottom of the deck here. What was hidden is being revealed here. There is a desire to turn something around. Somebody does not want there to be an ending in this situation. And I got that. Somebody is breaking free. They're going rogue. They're choosing something different. And it's really upsetting the dynamic of, it feels like a triad really going over with you. So let's go ahead and just do one more round here. And I think that's kind of indicative of this situation. It's like it's going overboard. Like it's over. It's all over. So, you know, there's something about moving with that, you know, not resisting that. Because if you do, there's some kind of power that wants to come in for you. Power to act and enact a really strong beginning in your own life for your benefit, okay? So I do see this will turn things around for you. And this could have a lot to do with financial reward, okay? Be aware of how you're dealing with conflict situations at this time. Make sure that you're behaving in a way that is really above board, and act with inner mastery and inner authority. Like, don't let somebody get you really activated where you're getting mouthy or you're popping off or you're getting involved in situations where, you know, you're embroiled in some kind of tit for tat kind of thing, because that could really negatively impact your reputation. And it could affect you in terms of what you're trying to grow for yourself right now, especially on a business level. And what I see here is that you got some advancement coming in for you here. It looks like you're building something for yourself. If you have some kind of designs, you know, on a business prospect here, this is going to work out very well for you. You may be fighting to hold on to some like group dynamic when really you're better off heading off on your own, investing on your own. You'll see a lot more progress. And not only do you see a lot more progress, but all the spoils go to you. You don't have to divvy it up, okay? Yeah, you don't have to divvy it up and feel ripped off, okay? So there's something here where I feel like I didn't get my fair share. I didn't get my cut. I didn't get enough. They're getting more than me. And the whole situation, it seems, was set up to be imbalanced from the get-go here with the two of diamonds in the shadow. Like it never was going to be fair. It never was going to be balanced. Somebody made it very clear that they wanted to be like the one who called all the shots, the one who was in charge in this situation. And I mean, you were dealing with somebody who was extremely like, this could be somebody who's very egocentric. This could be somebody who's very controlling. This is somebody who's a hothead. What they say goes. And this is a Papa Macho type. And they ain't going to change. Fire sign energy. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So if they've made up their mind about something, they've made up their mind. And if they're going away from it, they're going away from it. And there is no getting it back. With the Six of Spades in the shadow. And it doesn't matter how much you try to, you know, finagle around this or plot a way around it or hold on to it or keep pressing it. It doesn't matter. It's stuck. That's it. You know, 4:44 on the clock when I brought that in. There's been a lot of betrayal in this situation. But I think there's a key point that's really important here. The initial betrayal came when you first allowed yourself to go down this road. Because I feel like whatever this is, at one point it really cost you. And you think that there's something you lost here. but it's actually in the losing that you eventually come out ahead. But there was a point on this journey where you reached a fork in the road and you got a choice about which road you were going to take. And you knew that heading down this road, if you're really honest with yourself, you knew that it was going to lead to some mess like this. You did. Your instincts fired off and you ignored them. You ignored your intuition. And here you find yourself, you know? So it's sort of like, you know, take it on the chin, man. That's what it's about. Sometimes we take a risk and we get sucker punched, man. And you got to know how to take a punch, you know? You got to know how to take it on the chin. And I feel like that's where the true betrayal is. And I think that's why you're so upset, because you knew how this was going to go. I feel that. You knew how this was going to go. And you realize in the end, the only one you really betrayed was yourself in this situation. It's how it's coming through. It's a loss. Five of diamonds. There ain't nothing here anymore. But I'm telling you, the minute that you let this go, you move out of this dynamic. It looks like there's 3 people here. You move back into your own energy. You move back into your power. And you also gain the authority to act on your own behalf. And you take some kind of action that really secures your future. It transforms your standing. It transforms your reputation. And it also looks like money looks really good here, okay? And I feel like this is like maybe a situation where business and pleasure got a little intermingled and really went awry, something along these lines. Or this could even be something around, you know, family money, okay? And there was a lot of complicated energy involved in that. And, you know, something here is just, it's done. It's done. And I don't know how else to say it. It's done. You know, it's done. I do feel like to continue to press here, it looks like it could become a volatile situation. And it does look like it could be a situation where there could even be legal action taken, because there's no way to balance it out in the way that it was originally envisioned here. It's an inequity. There's imbalance here. And it puts you out of balance too, you know. It puts you on the losing end, actually, to continue to cling to this as well, to continue to even try to engage in this. It could lead to some problematic issues, and it could also lead to some pretty serious repercussions. That's what I'm seeing. There's a lot hidden here that you're not aware of. And so you would be wise to just keep it moving, because if you think you felt betrayed before, if you push, it's only going to get worse. I wish I had a better message to deliver, but it is what it is.